The fundamental problem for humanity, both at the individual and collective level, is that most of us are disconnected from their experience. We're disconnected from our primary experience and consciousness, and we're disconnected from each other. And that disconnection creates a feeling of emptiness, of disorientation, of abandonment, that we are alone in the universe, and along with that, an existential fear of our maintaining our existence, that of death, really, and that fundamental existential fear of death translates into a generalized anxiety disorder, because we've lost that connection, that primary connection with our own consciousness and that primary connection with other people, to the point where we feel that sense of aloneness, that sense of isolation, that sense of emptiness, and what goes along with that is meaninglessness. And that is the fundamental starting problem for humanity. Now, how we deal with that, what happens is we have to cope with that fundamental feeling of anxiety and feeling. What also comes with it is a feeling of being lost, of meaninglessness, somehow. And because we've lost the connection inside, we look outside. A certain number of us look to other people. We're smart enough to look to others for connection, and we see consciousness. We see presence there. We see actually what's missing in ourselves, what we're not getting. We see it externally in them, and in connecting with them, that helps us connect with ourselves. However, it doesn't completely do the job. It does a lot of the job. And healthy interpersonal relationships are essential. And yet, if we don't get it inside, when we're not in connection, when we're not in relationship, that feeling of emptiness comes back, or it doesn't really quench it, if you get what I'm saying, because we're empty on the inside. So we have to compensate that. And another way that we compensate for that is we look towards, to attach to a job. To become, and many of us become, who don't get involved in family and marriages, become, or even when we do, we look to the job, and through that we try to satisfy some of the anxiety by developing more power, by making more money, by gaining more status, by exceeding our expectations in the workplace, or our talents as professionals. However, underneath it, there's an anxiety that's fueling it, an anxiety to, that lost connection is now getting channeled through our work, or through the arts, or through some kind of activity. And it's not just a distraction. It is distracting us from the anxiety, but it's also that impetus that, wow, something is missing in here. I don't feel connected to myself or to others or to the universe, and now I've got to seek that out. And I'm feeling scared on the inside. I'm feeling disoriented, and I've got to make myself feel better when I'm in contact with you. I don't feel so anxious or so scared. I have company, and I feel also in that recognition at work. I'm valued. People are paying me. People are appreciating what I have to offer. So we build on top of that, that general anxiety level, lack of connection with primary self, other, and universe. We compensate for that in all kinds of ways, only none of those ways actually work. And none of those ways last because they're all temporary and life is transient. Everything is always moving. And so what happens then is we find ourselves in a position where we have the contact for a while, but then we have to leave, and now I'm alone. Or I got the award at work, but now that's over. Or I bought the new solar car, but the charm has worn off. So it doesn't matter what it is, or the new house or whatever it is. And so these things don't last. So we have to keep getting the awards or keep making more money, keep getting a hit. It's like a drug to keep ourselves secure. And there's a beauty in that to some extent, is that if we do that and we're successful, we progress, we make more money, we do get some material benefit for that, and our families are more secure and so forth. But it doesn't really satisfy. And to the extent that we're successful with that secondary settling for the secondary connections, we're more adjusted or not so well adjusted, or happier or not so happy. Most of us, though, don't really succeed at that. The vast majority become exhausted pursuing work and exhausted pursuing relationships, because for them to last, you see, we have to control them somehow. We have to maintain them and control them and get them to be in a place where we feel secure, that we're not going to be left, or they're going to appreciate us. So we have to keep earning the awards or the love, and keep earning the recognition, or keep earning these things through our manipulations of others. And I don't just say that in a negative way, or another way to say it, by earning that through others in society. And that becomes exhausting, and it doesn't really work. So family and spouses, all these things cannot satisfy, careers cannot satisfy that fundamental disconnection at the consciousness level. This predicament, this situation, is a fundamental problem. And here's where it really goes sour, is that in the attempt to keep these things going that I described, to keep the appreciation or the rewards going, and to gain more power and to control, we start to get also aggressive, because we realize it's not working. Before we hit the depression stage, we go through that aggressive stage. And that aggressive stage makes us selfish and narcissistic, and it makes us step on other people and only think us for and no more. We just think about our own safety and our own families, and we don't think about the neighbors and the rest of the world. We become narcissistic and aggressive and violent. And so you see in that narcissism and that violence, you see all kinds of world. You see the political problems coming out in the competitions between countries, and everything we see on the global scene, and horrible wars where we're bombing and killing each other and killing children in their beds. I mean, it's really horrific, starving them in the middle of the night, bombing them in the deserts. I mean, we've just done horrific things to each other with this idea that we have to compete and control in order to secure our safety and to keep us from those feelings of existential emptiness and disconnection. So this is what's at the heart of the global struggle and human struggle. It's not unknown. It's not a secret. Most of you listening to this are like, yes, it's true. It's almost obvious what I'm saying. And yet the focus, we don't see, there's of course a few folks globally that are standing up for let's connect with each other. Let's get down to the basics and to the root of this problem and solve it. But most of us are too busy trying to pay the bills and trying to keep afloat and trying to get the kids in the right college and so forth, to take the time to really pause and go, what really matters, and how can we really solve this problem, and how can I learn to really connect with myself in this primary consciousness, to connect with this universe, this experience of life. I'm too busy trying to pay the bills and get my kids and my family through life. I don't have time to connect with consciousness and connect with others on some deep poetic way. But in fact, if we don't do that, we're going to continue to have these repetitive problems.